am your discussant for today, Irisha C. Carolina from the Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English. I am here with you today to discuss the pre-writing stage of the writing process. The objectives of this topic is to identify and explain the steps in the writing process, to use graphic organizers to pre-write, to find and explore ideas so that you will prepare to write, and last, to use the techniques that work best for thinking process. The first stage would be choosing a topic and limiting it. According to Murray, 1972, when we say pre-writing stage, it is defined as everything that takes place before the first draft. It begins with brainstorming, exercises, and preliminary research to select a topic. Once a topic has been chosen, this should be limited based on the type of the written output required. A quick survey of related sources on the general topic is helpful in limiting the topic to a more specific area of study. Student writers should ask the following practical questions. First, what are the objectives that need to be met by this paper? Second, what are my objectives in writing this paper? The third one, we have what are the length requirements of this paper? Fourth, how much time do I need to write it? Number 5, what are the other restrictions or limits imposed by the professor of this course? And the 6, we have what has already been written about this topic and what ideas can I add to the conversation about it. Here is an example of notes leading up to the selection of a narrow and focused topic for documented essay on the topic of the plagiarism in the Philippines. Brainstorming. Philippine culture expressions, terms, behavior, and practices unique to the Philippines. Expressions like ano ba yan? Ukay-ukay, Philippine hospitality, bringing home pasalubong, the so-called tingi-tingi system. General topic selected would be the tingi-tingi system by the piece or small amounts, example 1 stick of cigarette versus a pack, a sachet of a shampoo versus a bottle. Specific topic, the cultural significance of the tingi-tingi system in the 21st century. Let us now move on and proceed to the second stage, and that is asking research questions and establishing significance of one's research. The next helpful step is to barrage the specific topic with the questions to come up with the essay's main research questions. Although it is helpful to begin with the questions that ask questions like who, what, when, or where. This should be used as the background research question. Let's say, for example, the answers to the questions listed here can be readily looked up. First, what does the tingi-tingi system mean? What is the nature of tingi? Second, who exactly practices this? Third, when did the practices begin? Fourth, where is this practice? In what context? Questions that ask how and why are more likely to invite a deeper research and lead to more interesting answers. First, why is tingi-tingi system a prevalent practice in the Philippines? Second, how did it develop? How was it practiced in the past? How was it practiced today? Finally, the student should pose a tougher question, the so what question. Now that I know all of this, so what? What makes my research socially or culturally significant? We have here the brainstorming research questions. What cultural and social values as well as realities led to the practice of buying and selling by tingin? What impact does it have on buyers and sellers? What larger implications does it have about life in the Philippines and its socio-economic system, especially today? Next, we have here the main research questions. Why is the continued use of the tingi-tingi system in 21st century in the Philippines is significant? The so what question is the main research question. Another way to arrive at this question is to begin by naming the topic, adding a reason for studying the topic, and adding a significance to the reason for studying the topic. Let's say, for example, state your topic. I am studying tingi culture in the Philippines. Add reason for studying. I am studying tingi culture in the Philippines because I want to find out what it reflects about the values of the Filipinos. Add significance to this study. I am studying tingi culture in the Philippines because I want to find out what it reflects about the values of Filipinos in order to help my reader understand and why there are larger implications of the practice in the 21st century. Research question: why is the continued use of tingi-tingi system in the 21st century is significant? So let us now move on the third stage, and that is composing a thesis statement. Okay, so when you say thesis statement, this is the explicit statement of what will be the paper's central idea, point, or argument. That is the main assertion that will be supported by the entire essay. It will also be essentially the tentative answer to the research questions. According to Kim and Mikael Fleischman, 2011, a thesis is a contract between the writer and his or her readers. This means that a writer must deliver on the promise made by the thesis statement that the essay will assert one central point and that will be focused and supported by every paragraph in the essay. Moreover, the contract does that this thesis statement should be provided early in the introductory paragraphs so that the reader will know of the outset what they will expect. Let's say, for example, the research questions: why is the continued use of the tingi-tingi system in 21st century is significant? The thesis statement would be like this: the continued use of tingi-tingi system in 21st century in the Philippines reflects a lack of change in economic situation of the Philippines, as those from the mainly poorer sectors of society are forced, due to the lack of available funds to buy small and think in the short term. Okay, so we are now in the fourth stage, and that would be preparing an outline. An outline consists of three main sections. First one, we have the introduction. It is typically consists of interesting opening to draw the reader into subject, background information on the topic, and a statement of the paper's thesis. Second, development. Optional components are paper's objectives and its plan of development, because this will make up the body or the largest part of the essay should be more detailed and specific. The subheadings in this section should be consist of 3 or more subtopics that act as supporting points for the essay's central idea. Each of these supporting points may have supporting details listed under them. And the last section, we have the conclusion. This is typically contains a wrap-up or the summary of the essay's main points, a final point, a prediction or recommendation, a reiteration of the main idea, and or the final insights. Okay, so while a list consists of just one level or set of items, an outline always has two levels or more. This means that subtopics or supporting ideas are subsumed or placed under the main topics or the main ideas. The main headings on the first level use the Roman numerals. The second level headings use capital letters, and the third level headings use numbers. The fourth level use lowercase letters, and so on. And the fourth level headings use lowercase Roman numerals. An outline has 2 or 4 levels. Here is an example of writing an outline. It is a 2-level topic outline. A. Title: Tingi Culture in the 21st Century, Still Thinking Small in the Philippines. B. Thesis statement: The continued use of the tingi-tingi system in the 21st century in the Philippines reflects a lack of change in the economic situation of the Philippines, as those from the many poorer situations or sectors of society are forced, due to the lack of available funds, to both buy small and think in short term. Introduction: The tingi-tingi system. Interesting examples of buying by piece. The definition and origin of tingi and the tingi-tingi system. The main idea, and that is continued practice of tingi culture as a reflection of prevailing poverty and thinking in the short term. Next, development. The social and cultural implications of the tingi-tingi system. Why it was practiced in the past. Why it continues to practice today. Buying small as equivalent to thinking small. And the next would be the conclusion. Looking back and looking ahead. Recap of why the system has significant cultural implications. Final insight about the need to think in larger and longer terms. Let us now move on to the last stage. We have doing research and finding credible sources. In the 21st century, doing research is not as difficult as it is used to be. Before the digital age or the age of the internet, information from secondary sources could be gathered solely by going to a library, searching through the card catalog, finding correct bookshelf, and leafing through a book. But now, while libraries continue to host student researchers, there are many other options available to them. And that would be the sources that are just a mouse click away. As pointed out by Nicholas C. Borbles, 2001, the web is not an ordinary reference system. It poses some unique and in many respects unprecedented conditions that complicate the sort of sorting out dependable from undependable information, and even complicates the notion that we have a clear sense of that distinction. A good academic should be trustworthy sources. Students who find articles or pages on the web that provide relevant information on the topics they have chosen to write about must make the extra effort of verifying that the sources is valid, credible, and reliable. These are the several ways to do this. First, check the Universal Resource Locator or URL, sometimes referred to as IP address or link on the browser's address bar. The shortcuts for the domain names at the end of the URL give information linked to the site's purpose or agenda and therefore its potential biases. Second, read the About Us section of the website. As with print sources, look for information about the author or the organization, the site publisher, and the other relevant information about the site. This will help one to verify whether or not the information is being provided by the expert or authority in this subject. Third, review the content for relevance, depth, and breadth, accuracy, and currency. The information should be related to the subject one is studying and provides the appropriate depth and coverage of the topic. Information should be precise and authoritative, produced by the credible sources and current. Fourth and the last, look at the source cited. If the website is credible and reliable, the information will include the ideas cited from the other sources. There should be links to the sources used and cited by the author. Review the website for broken links